I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even if nobody else believes, I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.
Hey everyone, are you rad for Christ? You fired up for Jesus? Welcome back to another episode of Radical Christianity, the talk show that highlights God in action. I am Drew, your host, and I want to thank you for being here. Well, folks, you heard it here first. That's right. It's that oh so exciting time of the year when the Church of England gets together for their General Synod Conference. This year, the Church of England has a request to include alcohol-free grape juice instead of wine and gluten-free bread during Holy Communion. Although it sounds more like a Church of California, I guess it's a pretty responsible request for a large gathering in today's times. Well, apparently the Church of England is not buying the woke health food movement because they have forbidden priests and congregants from using alternatives to fermented wine and wheat flour, saying, so don't expect to see any Rice Crisps in the communion plate in England anytime soon. I can see where they're coming from. I mean, come on. The communion plate isn't a charcuterie board with options to accommodate every new diet. What's next? Will people on the carnivore trend start making requests for bacon? What would you call a Eucharist wafer made with gluten-free ingredients anyway? I can't believe it's not Jesus. Hey, but then, what are those who are sensitive to alcohol or gluten supposed to do? Well, the governing body has said those who have with aversion should simply not partake and receive a blessing instead, similar to children or those who are ill. Sorry, sensitive folks, you've been sent back to the kids' table. Well, this really does remind me of when I was little, and we were always told we had to eat everything on your plate or nothing at all. The worst cooks seem to say that the most. Nothing like stewed carrots and boiled Brussels sprouts. Do folks do that these days? Hey, I've got a question for you. What kind of priest would serve noodles instead of bread for communion? A ramen Catholic, of course. But you know what? Don't worry. When there is some wine left over from communion, it doesn't get wasted. The nuns do. Okay, I kid. Hey, how many calories are there in sacraments anyway? None. You don't get it? None? Okay, you got it. So, you know, a lot of churches in our area offer alternatives, and I personally don't see any issue with it because alcohol and allergens can be an issue for some people. At the same time, I can recognize how it is a point of importance for those who feel passionately about the ingredients. Holy Communion is a sacred tenet of many denominations in Christianity, most of them actually. It turns out the only Christian faiths that do not practice the sacrament are the Quakers and the Salvation Army. Wow, I didn't even know that it was a denomination until today. I thought it was just a thrift store. But hey, don't be like me and make the mistake of calling them Salvation Soldiers. Even though it's the Salvation Army, they are simply known as Salvationists. Lucky you, comedy and education. What a fun time we've had today. Thanks again for joining us. Now tell me, are you rad for Christ? You fired up for Jesus? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat. Returning guest, super awesome lady, so important to me. And I hope that she means as much to you guys. She is got such a heart for Jesus. And if you've seen her on the show before, you're going to be excited that she's back. So let's have a huge, warm welcome for Terrie Purgason. Woo! Good to see you again. Good to see you.
It truly is good to see you.
Please have a seat.
I will be glad to do that. Okay.
So, Terrie, welcome back to Radical Christianity.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Excited that you're still here.
you know. We just keep being obedient, and you know,
That's the best.
And the Lord just keeps accepting our obedience.
Yeah, it's good.
So, you know, you've been here a few times.
Yep.
And we have gone over your testimony, and
Yep.
you know, and a lot of what you're. So, what is going on now? Do you still doing the same? Because that church up the mountain has been sold, actually given or sold to my church. Believe it or not.
Yeah, Clovis Hills.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know Laura Jones.
Yes.
From Clovis Hills.
Very well.
Well, Laura Jones and I are in ministry together, and we have what is called the House of Prayer, Seal of Fire Ministry, and it's located in the heart of Clovis in a big periwinkle 2-story house. And that ministry is, that's why I brought you these. Our verse is, "Fasten me upon your heart as a seal of fire forevermore," and that's in Song of Songs. But our great aim is to equip, activate, and launch you into igniting your spiritual fire, purpose, and impact.
That's
and
awesome.
so we have classes, we have seminars, we have daytime things on Saturdays. We have a Super Saturday coming up, and that Super Saturday is all about R&R, renew and restore, and it's engaging with the Holy Spirit in healing, vision, and hope.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, Laura has been a guest on here twice.
Okay.
Both times to promote the prayer breakfast.
Prayer breakfast.
Yeah.
So Sylvia's been here too?
Yeah, Sylvia's been on.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you recommended her, and we
Yes.
kept coming at her from all different directions. Eventually, she came on.
Oh,
She had
good.
a good time. She brought Joe with her, and they talked about the prayer breakfast.
Yes.
And then, Laura came on both times with Kathy McElhargy.
I'm glad you can say her last name.
It took practice.
Yes.
The first time I butchered it, like over and over and over, and I could never even say it.
Yes.
And then this time, when I was going through it, I made sure I got on exactly how she says it.
Yes.
And then it took me a few times practicing, and then I broke it into things and burned it into my brain.
Well,
So-
that's good.
so
That's
now-
a good plan. Maybe
yeah.
I'll try that also.
I'll tell you when we're off camera how I broke it down.
Okay, okay, that'd be good. Yeah, she's an amazing person.
Yeah, they're both really, really special ladies. You know, Laura I know really well now because I was introduced to her through our pastor to come on the show to talk about the 21 days of prayer and fasting last year.
Okay.
And then we also covered the prayer breakfast. It was, because that was also coming up.
Yeah, and that's coming up again.
Right, and then that's next week.
Yes,
It's,
next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, and we got a table. For Radical Christianity.
Okay, good.
And some of our guests are going to be on there, and so it's going to be at the table. So it's going to be it's going to be an interesting little mix.
Yeah.
Because we have pastors and pastors' wives, and gospel singers, and
What a nice mix.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And what do you think about the speaker?
The speaker obviously is a beautiful thing. It's Dallas Jenkins.
Yes, that's right.
From The Chosen, who writer and creator pretty much of The Chosen.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to say the creator of The Chosen because it's like obviously that story was created by someone else.
Yes, but the great creator, the master creator.
Right. But that's going to be. I'm actually going to have an opportunity, from what I'm told. No guarantees because life doesn't have guarantees. Nothing's real till it's real. But we're supposed to sit down and interview with him, which will
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be a full interview for we can apply to the show, but we'll definitely take a clip because we did interview with Elizabeth Tabish, who is Mary Magdalene from that series.
Oh.
I got a 10-minute interview with her.
When did you do that?
That was a couple weeks ago Saturday, but it was
She was here, huh?
Yeah, she's doing that movie Between Borders.
Oh, okay.
And she was at the River Park Cinemas, the Regency over there.
Okay.
To promote it.
Yeah.
And we got to sit down with her at that theater.
How very special.
And do a little 10-minute interview. We talked about.
And so, what's she like?
She is a really good-hearted person who has always loved Jesus, but these new faith-based films that she's working on has put a new fire in her.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. So she's very motivated to talk about Jesus
encouraging.
and talk about her faith and encourage other people to do so. So
That's very encouraging.
yes. It is. It is very encouraging.
Yeah, it is.
And we also try to encourage everybody to go see that movie Between Borders. If we do not support faith-based films, and these are really high quality, not the typical Christian film that you expect to just be like, ugh, you know. No, these are, we have a whole new generation of Christian films.
That's correct.
And so go out and support it. Between Borders, go out there, get your ticket, get in there. The first few weeks is all that matter the most. First weekend is actually the most important. But.
So get in where? Where is it?
It should still be playing at River Park, but
Okay.
I mean, wherever your favorite theater is, just look it up. I'm sure it's playing. You know, so
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So. It is so neat. I did not. Laura was just here like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, was she
didn't,
really?
Yes, and she didn't even mention it. So.
She didn't.
Well, we were all talking prayer breakfast.
Okay.
So,
okay.
You know.
Yeah. Get focused.
Power of prayer,
Yes.
prayer breakfast, results, that kind of stuff.
And that's one of the things she and I talk about quite a bit. We have to focus on what we're doing now. We have to focus. Otherwise, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, but it's really good that the two of you team up because you're both like these really like sweet, warm-hearted ladies.
Oh,
so,
how sweet. How nice. Thank you.
You know, now you just gotta like, you know, if it's just saying, if you guys bring cookies to every meeting,
Oh.
you guys will immediately hit a hard.
I think I have blueberry muffins. I should have. Shame on me.
Well, you just know, like, you know, like the whole like the sweet lady thing, you know what I mean? Bring the cookies.
Well, we'll
you
just
know.
have to meet at Cup of Joy again, and you can buy the coffee. No.
I have no problem buying coffee. Yeah. So you know, things are going. You know, we're doing some you know, radical Christianity. We're going to be doing I don't think I told you this since we've talked, but we're doing a documentary on prayer.
Are you?
Yes, specifically focused on the Central Valley and how prayer is affecting the Central Valley.
Interesting.
Yeah, and from little small stuff to big stuff, not just, you know, city, you know, but also like individual lives and that kind of stuff. And it's going to be a long project. I mean, when I first thought about it, I thought it'd be something quick, but you know, there's just.
So, what are some of the kind of things you want to bring into that documentary?
Oh, well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but what we want to do is we want to focus on, you know, how the community is in a really bad place, you know, with homelessness and all kinds of pain and financial hurt, a lot of things. And then we want to also talk about how like where it was a long time ago, you know, and then what kind of things prayer has, you know, manifest in the area. And then we want to, you know, hit that at a whole different level. So we want to hit that from the pastor's point of view. We want to hit that from, you know, prayer warrior point of view. We want to talk about the prayer breakfast. We want to talk about, you know, so.
Well, we have a gal in our group with the Seal of Fire Ministry, House of Prayer, who oversees the prayer ministry for trafficking women.
Would that be Alicia?
That's
Andrade.
her.
Yes, she's been on the show.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yes.
And she is got a really good heart for praying on that. I'm glad that she's involved with you guys. You know, obviously that's awesome. You know, she did that event with Deborah Rush just recently. Yeah, who's also been on the show. So,
oh, there you go. There you go. But maybe just go through all the people that I know. And they've been here.
I mean, I've been doing this show for almost 2 years now. I mean, it's odds are we're going to have some overlap.
Yeah, I was surprised when I was driving on Clovis Avenue by Shaw, and the police were over there by the Kohl's Shopping Center on the corner, and they were handing out things, and they had people saying, "Come support, come support, come support." And they were dealing with trafficking. That was so amazing that they are actually aggressively getting into the removal of trafficking. The police department, Alicia and her prayer ministry, so many are involved in that.
You know, the trafficking issue is like one of those issues that we'll never entirely get rid of. You know what I mean? Depending on how you look at it.
Yes.
You know, if you keep it as vague as, you know, women who exploit themselves on the street, it'll never go away. You know, because that's always going to happen. That's the oldest profession, and it'll probably be the last one to die. You know,
Yeah, but that's different.
Right.
than this.
Wait, that's what I'm saying. Where you try to define, because there are some people that use self-exploitation as part of human trafficking.
Exactly, and that's another area of ministry. But again, they're different.
Right, but I see human trafficking as exploiting somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yes. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when if you can draw those differences, you know what I mean, it does change the spectrum.
It does.
Yes.
And it's the way that you handle. Now, have you had Vicki Luna on here?
I don't think we've had Vicki Luna yet.
Okay, you need to have Vicki Luna. She has an amazing ministry. She had a house in downtown Fresno that burned down. Was an old home.
No, we're talking the lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Yes, Vicki Luna. Yes, we have.
Good.
We actually went to the lighthouse, toured it.
Okay, good.
We did the coffee shop at Cornerstone.
The new one?
The new one. We toured the new one. It's so beautiful. It's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I understand it is phenomenal.
Yes, and she had people donate. A contractor came and worked on. It was just the story's great. It's there. I mistakenly confused the name of it because they have a sign out front called House of Hope.
Yes.
So like whenever I drove past it, I thought it was the House of Hope and not the Lighthouse. You know what I mean?
There you go.
But eventually, when I did that, I was like, oh, this is the Lighthouse. Yeah. And that's connected. They're not part of Cornerstone's ministry, but Cornerstone supports them.
That's correct.
And the coffee house over at Cornerstone, they run it.
Yes. And they also have a clothes closet. I'm trying to remember, is that on Blackstone?
They talked about that.
They moved it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where it's at. They're talking about that, though.
Yeah, and it's amazing what they're taking in and what they're doing. But anyhow, the ministry that they have with women is in recovery is great.
Yes. Yes, what they're doing is tremendous.
Yeah. Isn't it exciting to see not just only the prayer ministries, but the active ministries that are taking place in Fresno and Clovis area? That are literally reaching out to and drawing in and equipping and healing so many people.
Yeah, it is amazing to see. I'm still trying to figure out that special formula to get funding, but
well, you know what? When you figure that out, that would be a great program for others, including us, because it's not easy. It is not easy, especially with the way things are going right now in our country, that funding may be, I can't even get eggs at Costco. They're gone by the time I get there. People, and then they're stealing eggs. It's just a crazy.
Yeah, egg prices have gone up crazy because of California's law on chickens. You can't raise chickens in little cages anymore. No. Now you have to let them, have a certain kind of space, and because there's somebody out there who's just worried about the chickens being happy.
Oh, happy chickens.
Happy chickens. They're not worried about getting quality eggs. They're just worried about happy chickens. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
It's kind of hard for me to put up a big argument against that because I care about animals so much.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to put up an argument about, if the chickens are miserable, should we think about that? But, there's probably a happy medium in there, something that makes sense affordability-wise, that's still, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I was fixing breakfast the other day, and I brought the eggs out of the fridge, and I asked my husband, would you like a golden egg this morning? They're so expensive.
Right? They should be
But on the other hand, it's just a Kairos moment, a season in time that things are just different.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. The city of Fresno should change their zoning laws to allow people to have chickens in their backyard.
Oh, is that right? They did?
No, they don't. They should.
Oh, okay.
Right now, animals of a farm nature are off limits inside city limits in your housing. That's that's supposedly what the municipal code says.
Interesting.
So if they would drop that and let everybody have chickens, everybody with 2 chickens could feed their family on eggs. And it would cost them nothing but chicken feed.
Rather than waiting in line all the way out the door at Costco. Yeah. Very interesting.
Little things like that, can make a difference.
This is a very exciting conversation.
Exciting.
Sorry.
I loved it. I love puns. I can't help myself. I love.
I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah. So but that's the kind of stuff that we have no control over. And I don't know if the city thinks on that level. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, here's the thing. We should just change this, and people could, because in all reality, it's what's the harm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do not have a clue.
Yeah. I mean, because our weather doesn't get cold enough to kill chickens. You know what I mean?
Oh, it has been cold though, hasn't it?
It has.
Oh my goodness, very cold. Very cold. We have a pellet stove that we usually turn off when we go to bed, but we've been leaving it on at night.
I'm crazy to that degree. Because of the nature of, I have a house that's over 100 years old, so it's a little drafty, doesn't heat very well.
Yeah.
And then I have one of those old gas wall furnaces. So if I run that enough to keep my house warm comfortably, and dress comfortably, then it costs a fortune. Because it's just expensive.
Yeah.
But if I just light the pilot so that it just kind of heats, prep heat, and then dress warm, my heating bill this year has been. Of course,
good.
It is chilly in the house,
and if you're okay with that, that's okay.
It encourages my cats to cuddle. So there's a good side to it.
My husband does not mind cold. I do not like it, but he does not like cold. He doesn't mind cold. He can be cold and be happy. I can be cold and I don't know what.
Well, I'll be sitting there working at my desk, and I'll have my sweatshirt on, my hoodie up, and a blanket over my lap, and a cat in my lap, and I'll be.
But if I had a hoodie on, I'd mess up my hair. So what would I do?
Yeah, well.
This is not good.
Well, I don't care if anybody sees my hair messy in the house, because it's just me and my cats.
I love it. I love, Sylvia is like this, and I know so many people. And Rosa, have you ever had Rosa on the show? Oh, she's moved to Montana, but she's going to be back here in April. She does a great conference, a great, what would you call it, seminar every year that is phenomenal. And there's one coming up, I'm not sure, it's not in April, but you could ask Sylvia, she's on that team. But when Rosa is here, I'm going to give you her number. Or I'm going to give Rosa your number. Because I don't like to give I'll give Rosa your number.
That was actually a challenge to get your number and get you on the show, because I remember because everybody's all no, Terrie doesn't like people just giving out her number.
No, I don't. No, and I don't like to give out people's numbers either.
But eventually, I guess Joni got your okay, so Joni gave me your number, and that's eventually how I got you on the phone. Yeah. Well,
Rosa is the ministry that she does. The last one was absolutely incredible. So I can't wait to see what this next one would be like, but you should have her here. But going back to Rosa and hats, I love Sylvia and Rosa. They can wear those baseball caps and pull their little ponytail out. I can't do that. I want to do that, but they just laugh at me when I do that. You could do that.
I actually do. When I wear a baseball cap, I have to pull my ponytail out.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. I don't have a ponytail.
If I don't, then the ponytail bumps it up and it falls off my head.
Not a good plan.
Yeah, but then I actually I'm very specific about the kind of hat I get because of that also. So I get one that fits, and I put my ponytail through it like that. Although if I do that, then I'm not taking that hat off. You know what I mean?
Because it messes up
the hair underneath.
I know what that's like.
Yeah.
And it's too hard for me to refix my hair. My hair is my worst job in the morning.
My hair is unpleasantly curly. You know
what I mean? Is it really?
All the time. So it's constantly frizzy.
Oh.
I just do what I do to survive, and I keep it pulled back and braided.
And there's some people who would say, oh, they would love to have that.
Well, of course, grass is always greener.
Yeah, there you go.
Although, let me just say, if you have straight, stringy hair, don't knock it. Don't knock it. It's actually the easiest to work with. So
there you go.
Be pleased.
Is it legal to tell a joke here?
It's more than legal. It's encouraged.
Okay. It made me think when you were talking about birds, about this woman who had just this passion for parrots from the time she was very, very small. And she had wanted one, but never invested in one. So she was walking by a pet store one day, and there was a parrot in the window. And it was a beautiful parrot. And so she went inside and she talked to the proprietor, and she said, I really think that parrot is beautiful. Does the parrot talk? And the proprietor said, yes, but only probably in your private home. Probably doesn't talk here because there's too many people that come in. She said, well, if I take the parrot home and it doesn't talk, can I bring it back? He said, no, you have to keep the parrot, but the parrot will talk. So she thinks about it and she buys the parrot. And she takes the parrot home, and sure enough, the parrot talks, but out of the parrot comes foul language. So she looks at that parrot and she said, we do not talk foul language in this house. You must stop. So later she walks by and out comes the foul language. She said, you may not talk foul language in this house. Walks by again, foul language. She said, the next time you speak foul language in this house, you're going into the freezer for 5 minutes. So sure enough, walked by, out came the foul language. So she puts the parrot in the freezer for 5 minutes. Then she goes back after 5 minutes to get the parrot out. And she said, okay, parrot, did you learn your lesson? And he's shivering and he says, yes, ma'am, but may I ask you a question? She said, yes. He said, what in the world that turkey do?
That's great.
That is great. But birds,
I think it's funny that you use the term foul language.
Because they're
it's
fowls.
Birds. Yeah.
They're fowls.
Yes.
It doesn't work when you write it out. You have to speak it
Right.
out.
Yeah, because the spelling
Yeah,
is different,
so,
right? Yeah.
So what in the world that turkey do? Our perception of things is so askewed today.
Yes, perception is, they say perception is reality. I don't buy into perception as reality. I think that perception helps us understand reality, because you can only define reality as something that is constant from person to person. That's what qualifies reality. So if your perception of something is different than somebody else's perception of it, it's changed the reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
We are studying right now with Seal of Fire. We're just finishing the study, a book called Spiritual Intelligence by Chris Vallotton. An absolutely phenomenal book. And I could tell you a lot of pieces and parts in that, but he talks about we have IQ, we have EQ, but as Christians, we also have SQ, spiritual intelligence. And so often we forget the spiritual intelligence when we're working with our IQ and EQ. But one of the main things that I see, there's so much, but one of the things that has stood out in my mind that he says is we do not realize how important the first mention of our words, our thoughts are. The first mention that you mention to someone else, they're going to put that in their thought life, and that could create a new perception. That first mention, your first mention when you think of something. So what do you want your first mention to be? And this is weird, but I was thinking on the way over here, sometimes I feel like a jack-in-the-box where something happens and boop, out my mouth. And so I was thinking, why do I do that? And I was thinking, well, it's probably because my thoughts have been going already in a certain direction, and so my mouth now is just going boop. So therefore I have to make sure that my thoughts are intact, and many of that are my first mentioned thoughts, are my first mentions from someone else. So sometimes you have to, if it's a negative, you have to say, I'm going to take that one in. But how important first mention is. Have you ever thought about that?
I would never call it first mention. I would call it first impression.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's not words. Sometimes it's an expression on your face.
That's right.
Sometimes it's a body language thing. Sometimes it's something that you do in reaction or you're doing in reaction to what they're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I would say first impression.
And one of the things they say to wives especially, when you don't agree with your husband, you do not roll your eyes. Because then the conversation's done.
If you want to shut down a conversation, start it off by rolling your eyes.
Yeah, your expression can. My husband was saying one day, he said, husbands really deep down want to love their wives. They want to please their wives. They want to make their wives happy. And so depending upon how their wives respond, whether they trust or respect their husbands, then their husbands then are freed more and more when you trust them and respect them to please you and to bring delight to you. But when they see you don't trust them, as he said, we begin to put a little wall up. We don't know we're doing it. We don't. But after a while, that wall gets pretty dense. And it's not because we don't love them. It's because there needs to be respect and trust that removes that wall. Isn't that interesting?
I would say that that's really important in a husband or wife relationship. Yes. But I think that would extend to any kind of communicative relationship.
I think it could, couldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, because, like, think about if you're just meeting somebody new for the first time, right? And they're saying, well, you know what, my dog, you're like, dog. It's like you've established a precedent with them that's going to be hard to undo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so how we respond, I was writing in something that we were asked a question in our small group. It was on a paper. What sport or what skill would you like to develop that you really don't have the full ability to do? And I thought about that for quite a while. And then I thought, the skill that I would like to increase, get better at, is listening. Because listening does not just include your ears, it includes your mind, it includes your thoughts, it includes your heart, but it also includes your voice. Asking the right questions, responding the right way, the right facial expression. There's so much in listening and in communication, but I also understand that listening can be one of the greatest healing tools you have on a daily basis.
I remember that one of the little flyers that we sat down and went through was specifically about
listening.
Listening and communicating.
The art of listening.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like a melody to a person's life. My administrative assistant years ago met a woman at our church that was older, probably. Faye was much older than I, but this woman was probably in her 50s, and she was not very open. She was not a very friendly person, but Faye just somehow kind of decided to just listen to this woman and just come alongside. So she found out it was her birthday. Mm-hmm. So Faye literally took a birthday card to her house and gave her the birthday card and said, "Happy birthday." And the woman cried, and she said, "Do you know, this is the first birthday card I have ever received in my life."
Wow.
We have no idea the pain that people are going through around us. No idea. And some of it is nobody listens. That's why I give the angels. I've given you angels before.
And you've given me angels to give others even.
Oh, you want a mint?
Would you tell me something?
No, that's not a mint. There's the mint.
That's a menthol.
That's a menthol. Yeah, that's why I give the angels to people, and I've given over 8,000 of these out.
Yeah, you have the two different kinds.
Yeah, guys and gals.
Guys and gals.
Yeah, and it's amazing the responses that I get from people, from everything that, oh, this is so cute, or this is so pretty. Or like at one store, I won't name it, I often have people say, "I've been waiting for mine. Everyone else has one. I've been waiting for mine." But when I give the angel, it's like I'm saying, "I see you. You are of value." And I let them know that Jesus loves them and that I'll be praying for them. So I pray for those who have the angels. But sometimes they cry. I had one woman say, "This means so much to me. I just lost my husband yesterday. So this means so much to me." I had another young man in a drive-through say, "You can't know what this means to me. My best friend just killed himself last night." The act of kindness, whatever it is, this is an act of kindness. Whatever your act of kindness is, you have no idea what kind of healing that can bring. And that's where part of my listening is. When I give these things, I can hear where people are. I can hear their pain. I can hear their joy. But what I'm saying to them is, you are valuable. I see you. You are special. Many people never get that.
You know, the act of random kindness is something that stuck with me. I didn't. It didn't really stick with me until I watched the Bruce. What's it? Not Bruce Almighty. It's the sequel to that is Evan Almighty.
Okay.
You know, where he's building the ark. And then
I didn't see that.
You haven't seen that one?
No.
Okay, so you have to watch that one because it's Evan Almighty. He's same Morgan Freeman, same God, and he has him building an ark, and it like his whole everything goes crazy because like, what are you building an ark? You know what I mean? But then when he wraps it all around at the end, spoiler coming, that he talks about act of random kindness, and it's ARK, act of random kindness.
Oh, that is beautiful.
You know what I mean? And so like ever since that made it stick, that little comparison, just like boom,
something tangible, something connective. Yeah,
right.
I agree. But my husband, when we go to a restaurant and he sees a service person or a police person, he'll just go up to the food server and say, I'll pay their bill. I'll pay their bill.
That's nice.
Just an act of, and they don't even know who it was, but they just know they're of value. They're valued.
And the thing is I've always, in myself, I don't think of like, okay, well, I'm just doing it for a stranger. It's not about, pat myself on the back.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that is me doing it for Jesus.
There you go. Yes. People say, how can I be Christ-like? How can I be more like Christ? Random acts of kindness.
Yes, and then Jesus, when we see him, he'll be like, when you're going to get the question because he talks about it. It's like, oh, well, when these people were in prison, did you visit them? Did you go and give clothes to those who didn't have it? Did you feed those who were hungry? You know what I mean? And
Yes.
did you do any of this? Because when you were doing, and then he'll be like, okay, now to my good and faithful servant, when you did this to them, you did it to me.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
It is.
Isn't that beautiful?
And that is my motivation for this active.
I love that. I love that. It's very special.
Yeah.
And I see that in you. I see that you do random acts of kindness in a multitude of different ways.
I do as much as I can for God in every way I can.
I know.
And I am not, this doesn't mean I'm saying I'm perfect or the example for the next person, because I'm not. God, Jesus is the example. I am just a human mess. But I do love God. I have the Spirit in me. I wish I had like intercessor power, you know what I mean, where I could pray and things would happen. And it was like, never.
I wish I had more of that too. Our pastor on Sunday, we're going through Genesis, and we just finished Abraham.
Oh, okay.
And he said, Abraham was this amazing person, but he also was a goofus. I mean, we can be Christians, but we can also be a goofus. We are not perfect.
Yeah.
We are perfect in him. That perfection is, but we're just dealing with our.
We are not perfect,
That's
but
right.
through him we can be perfect.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and Terrie, I love it when we get together. I'm sorry we don't get together like we used to every week because I have too much on my plate.
Me too.
I have to actually work and make money. So
Heaven forbid.
Right? So I can't give up that much time in my world anymore at this moment. But we always have these deep talks,
We
and
do,
I love it.
great.
And I really have to kick myself in the backside and get you on here more often.
Oh.
No, because we have these great talks, and I know my audience loves it. There was, I think I even emailed you once or texted you once. There's a lady emailed me the first time you were on. Emailed me, and she was going on about, I think her name was Sandra or something, but she's going on about how everything you had to say just touched her so much, you know what I mean? And that she actually decided to, have re-engage, I think it was, with God and all that kind of stuff, and all because of, of you just sharing your heart.
That is awesome. Well, I ask that the Holy Spirit will bless our conversation and your further and previous conversations with the message that each person needs to hear according to the Holy Spirit's work in their life to bring about transformation, healing, and wholeness in order that they are set free to be ambassadors of reconciliation for Christ themselves.
Yeah. And what that means in translation to those who aren't the Christianese
Hello.
is you let the Spirit turn you into who God designed you to be.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we have a sizable amount of our audience that don't speak Christianese. So
Oh, you don't speak Christianese.
yeah.
Well, then, you like my joke, then.
we are so out of time, so thank you so much.
You're
love you so
welcome.
much, Terrie. I'm so glad that you came and sat with us.
And thank you for
talked.
inviting
And
me.
You know what? We're just going to have you on more.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Because you're just a pleasant joy to be here. You know,
Oh, I
so.
appreciate that.
And
I love hearing that.
And
Thank
we
you.
just get going, and I'm like,
It's so true.
yeah, it's always
Yeah.
a great conversation.
Good.
So, we have the saying, and that is, you are rad for Christ. You're definitely
Oh.
fired up for Jesus, and we love to see that here. So,
Oh.
God bless you, Terrie.
Thank you. And God bless you.
Housekeeping time. Yes, housekeeping is the time when I sit here and talk to you about how Radical Christianity operates off of donations. We are not able to sustain forever without some help from our viewers like you. So if you need what we're presenting here, that's fantastic. We could use your help too, but maybe there's somebody else that needs it. That you see that they are going to. You see the need that we can fill, right? So whatever that is, whatever God's saying, we're not here to try to talk you into giving us money. I'm not one of those televangelists that just says, you got to give money or you're going to hell. That's not my style, right? So I just kind of want to reach out to you and tell you that we do need your money. Not all of your money. Seriously, you need your money too, right? These are tough times, but what we're doing here is we're trying to help people find Jesus. We're trying to help people to establish a better relationship with their Creator. And that is a beautiful thing that we all need, and we could really use your help. So if you have $5, $10, $15 that you can share with us, it would be extremely helpful. If you could do more, that would be even greater. All you got to do is go to our website, radforchrist.com. That's RAD, Christ.com, and go to the navigation at the top. There's a little donate link there. Click that donation link, and then it'll take you to the Mr. E Christian Media donation page. Now, Mr. E Christian Media is the nonprofit that we operate within. It's a 501c3. That means your donation will be fully tax deductible. And you just go to the form, drop down Radical Christianity from the list, and then whatever number God has put on your heart to put there and send to us will be extremely, extremely, extremely appreciated. And it'll be a great blessing for us. If you want to donate to something else on that list, that would be great too. Also, you can just do the general fund, and then the funds will go where they're needed the most. But if you want to focus on this show, you select this show from that list, and every penny that you donate will go to keeping this show in full operation. With that said, you don't have money to give. You can still help us out. You can share us on social media, tell a friend, tell your pastor, tell people at your church. Help us raise awareness of the show. So share us on social media, whatever it is that you feel like you can do. And if you feel like you can't do any of that, there's still something you can do, and that is pray for us. You can fully get on your knees and say a little prayer to help us reach the people that need Jesus. All right. And if you do that kind of stuff, we're so grateful. That's just the kind of thing that we really appreciate here. And with all that said, I just want you to know that we're grateful for you. Thank you so much for watching. Now, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, these two guys coming up have a heart for Jesus, and they've got something really great to share with you. I hope that you guys want to get engaged in what's going on. So let's have a huge, warm welcome for Joe Castaneda and Eric Macintosh. Woo!
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Eric.
Good to see you. Welcome.
Have a seat, guys. Welcome to Radical Christianity.
Thank you.
Now, Joe, you've been here before, so you know what to expect. Eric, welcome, first time.
Happy to be here.
We'll try to be nice, not pick on you too much. Too much. Okay, no. What we do here is we go ministry, we go testimony to ministry, and Joe's been here, so we've heard his testimony. So he doesn't have to reiterate on that unless it comes up. But you get to be on the hot spot. So please, Eric, tell us how you met Jesus.
Yeah. So just a little bit about my story. So I grew up in the church, grew up in the suburbs, went to Clovis West. I kind of came to a point freshman year of high school. I got super depressed, and I was lonely, and I didn't have a lot of friends. And yeah, that's really where I met Jesus for the first time and committed to him. And I don't really remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, I have big plans for you, Eric. Something like that. And so, yeah, ninth grade, committed. I decided that if I wanted to follow this faith, I had to know what it said. And so I read the Bible front to back, and so that I knew everything was in it. And then, yeah, just kind of progressed from there. When I was 20 years old, I decided to do this neighborhood internship program called Care Fresno. You move into the neighborhood, into a low-income neighborhood, and you run an after-school program and get to know the kids and the families. And I always say that I joined for the wrong reasons, but I stayed for the right reasons. And the reason that I joined is because I really wanted to get out of my parents' house.
See, I thought you were going to go with the cute girl, like everybody else. You know, that's the typical story, right? Like he's like, I joined for the wrong reason, but I stayed for the right reason because there was this really cute girl that was going. That's usually how it starts. But so that's interesting.
I mean, that sounds like a good reason.
It's a nice twist.
There were a lot of relationships that came out of that Care Fresno cohort.
Any cute girls? We're just kidding. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah, so wanted to get out of my parents' house. I just did this mission trip to Costa Rica. So I was there for 2 weeks, and I got back, and I was just like, hey, I could do stuff like this here in Fresno, except it'd be a little easier because I speak the language. And so I thought this would be like a cool idea. I called the guy. I was like, is there any openings left? And he's like, yeah, we got some openings. And I was like, so what's it looking like? What's the payment like? And he's like, it's free. The rent's free. And I was like, wow, that sounds like a great deal to me. Nice. So I moved into this apartment complex called Parks at Fig Garden on Fruit and Ashland. 365 units, one for every day of the year. And at the time, they got the #1 police calls in Central District.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with that apartment complex.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I went to Cooper Junior High.
Oh, just right there?
Yes,
yeah.
Right by there. And so most of my friends lived in that neighborhood. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was a pretty tough building.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of great.
But they did remodel that since then. So this was before the big remodel, right?
Yeah, and I was living there while they were remodeling it. So they were doing a bunch of construction stuff.
They kicked a lot of people out for that. So
yeah, people weren't too happy. So moved in there, ran the program for a couple months, and I was just doing like a terrible job. Like the kids.
You're honest. I was doing so good.
The kids were running circles around me. They were taking my stuff. No one was doing any homework. All this different stuff happened, and then I had a team of 4, and over the course of 3 months, everyone transitioned except for me. And so my boss was like, Eric, we just have you at this one site and another person at another site. We're thinking about moving you over to the other site with that person. And I was like, oh man, well, I'm not doing that good anyways. This could be good. I was like thinking about it. And then I'll never forget this moment where I'm standing in front of the program room and all the kids are there. And these are kids that just gave me grief for 3 months, like cussed me out, stole my stuff, all this different stuff. And I was like, guys, I'm going to be leaving. We're going to be shutting the program down. And the kids, there's just like silence, went over the whole crowd. And then I'll never forget this one kid. This kid still calls me 10 years later. I'll never forget this one kid just started like crying. And I was like, man, what do I do? What am I doing? And so, and these kids, they just started like crying and they went away sad. And so I went up to the top of the program room, laid on the floor, And I prayed and I was like, God, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm so bad at this. And God was like, well, and again, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, Eric, I want you to stay. I know that you're bad at this, but you're who these kids got right now. And so I was like, okay. So I knew what I had to do. So I went back to my director and I was like, hey, like, we can't shut the program down. It's so important to the kids. And I really believe that was my first step towards following Jesus in the neighborhoods and in the communities. The first step, just standing up for myself and what I believed in, and standing up for the kids in the community. And then it was so cool to see what happened from there. The next month, we were able to get the kids to line up, and the next month we were able to get the kids to do their homework. And they sound small, but these were big things for us.
Well, yeah, the threat of having the program taken away, it seems like it was the catalyst
right?
that snapped everybody into shape.
Yeah, maybe that was it, yeah. And then I got to hang out with Care Fresno for the next 5 years. So I got to do teen program, parents. I got to oversee the college internship program, so the kids that were living in the college students that were living in the neighborhood. And it was just like a super cool experience. And then from there, I took a little break. I think I need a break every like 5 years because this kind of work just wears on you. And so I took a little break to work for the prison system.
Oh, that's a break. Yeah, okay.
I was in it was still a rough spot, but yeah, I was in medical, so I got to visit 16 different prisons all along the state. And Joe and I found out, Joe also worked for the prison system, and we actually found out that we were at the same one a couple times. Yeah, and just didn't cross paths, so small world. And then I got to jump into a different nonprofit after that called One Collective. And I served in a community called the Lowell community. And I really got to go deep in one community. So it was a lot of the similar stuff, mentorship. But we expanded. We did like food program. We did job readiness for kids, taught kids how to get jobs. We did camps. I helped out at this little church called Bethany Inner City Church. And so I kind of got to help out there, work on my like worship skills and teaching skills and do some stuff there. And after 3 years of that, I was at a workshop, not last June, but a year ago June. And the guy who's my boss now was leading the workshop. And he said, I work for this organization called Care Portal. Do you guys want to stick around at lunch and hear more about it? And so I'm curious. I'm always looking for new ideas and new things, new cool things to bring to Fresno. And so, I stuck around for lunch, and I just raised my hand. I was like, is this in Fresno? And he's like, nope, we're not in Fresno yet. We're in 30-something states all over the U.S., but we haven't landed in Fresno yet. And I was like, well, what do I need to do to bring it to Fresno? Like, let's do this. And he said, Eric, slow down, like, pray about it.
That's good advice.
And so I decided to pray about it for a week, and texted him the next week and said, hey, I think we want to do this. I don't know what it's going to look like, but we want to bring this to Fresno. And then apparently the next day he receives a text from a local foundation that's potentially wanting to sponsor the project to bring it here. And so I didn't know that at the time. So I was volunteering, trying to bring Care Portal to Fresno for the next couple months. We had like a community event in October, and then the job opened up, prayed about it, applied for it, and then landed the job as the director. So I started about a year ago in February, and then we were able to kick things off last May. So
nice.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. So this is the Care Portal is what you guys are here to talk about, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So explain what it is. Other than just a portal called Care.
That's part of it, yeah. So Care Portal initially started to address the foster care crisis. They learned that a lot of children were going into the foster care system for poverty-related reasons, and that there is a huge opportunity for the community to come around these children and get them the items that they need, whether they need a bed or a crib or mom needs a gas card, and also to help support the family and come around the family to support. And so Care Portal said, what better organization to support families and to come alongside families than the local church? And so essentially what it is, a child-serving professional. So it could be a social worker, it could be a school counselor, teacher, foster homeless liaison, it could be a nonprofit. They can utilize the app, and we call these vetted needs. And so every request, the family goes through a vetting process to make sure it's a real family, it's a real need, and it's going to have a big impact on their life. And so they have the opportunity to post a story. We keep everything confidential, no names, no personal information, no phone numbers, and they get to, and that story goes out to the nearest churches in the area. Churches are the primary organization we work through, but businesses can be involved, individual community members can be involved, everyone in the community can be involved to help. And so then the church has the opportunity to pull up the app or the website, and they can click, yes, I want to help. And they not only get a chance to get that item to the family, but they also get a chance to meet the family and develop a meaningful connection with them. And so, yeah, it's kind of the gist of it. Joe, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think like the way that we would describe it in simple terms as far as the technology is we call it care sharing technology. So through the use of the app or this online experience, you can connect these two people. One is the person or this group that it has a need. It could be related to maybe a new mother that just, she's really trying hard, but she doesn't have everything she needs, like a car seat or a baby's crib, those kinds of things. So we connect that person or that family with the other group who has the ability to fill that need. So maybe they have that extra crib that their baby is grown, they no longer need it, or maybe they're a furniture company in the community that says, well, we sell those, you can come and pick it up. I would love to participate and donate this item to that family. And so the vehicle that we use to connect those, right, one portion is the care sharing technology, and the other portion, like Eric was saying, is I guess mobilizing the church to be able to gather those items or the funding for those items and connect with the family to make that meaningful connection.
Yeah. That's cool. That seems like a no-brainer. Why?
Man,
yeah,
tell me about it, bro. Tell me about it.
I mean, a lot of churches do that, but they don't do it very effectively. So the fact that you guys are trying to do it something a little bit more effective seems, collective.
What I've noticed too is like what I love about Care Portal is it kind of removes some of the barriers that would cause people to find reasons to not want to work together. And now it becomes less about a building or a position or a political stance and more about loving and caring for those who are most vulnerable in our community. And so I think most people have a heart to care for that child or to help a family stay united and not allow the government to have to get involved. And what a better experience for the family to have that meaningful connection. And instead of saying, thank God the government got involved, like, thank God the church got involved.
Yeah.
Like that's so powerful.
There's going to be people right now who are watching that are going to be thinking, it's like, well, yeah, the church should do charity. Because, that's like, I mean, if you understand that whole like government involvement thing is that, there are factions of political society that want to make government drownable in a bathtub. They want to make government so small that it does nothing for anybody.
Right.
And they're like, oh no, the church should do that, not the government. Right. But what they're not realizing is that the government has money to do things. Because they're extracting money, from people without them saying no.
That's right.
Whereas the church doesn't extract money, they are given money. And the church has a limit to what they can do with their money. You know what I mean? So when we hear that, you know what I mean? I mean, on surface, it sounds, oh yeah, sure. Like, if the church had unlimited funds, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But they don't. it's the government has way more resources. They can cut back on military spending, and fund a whole mess of stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff the government does fund that's silly. I mean, that's a big political discussion we're not getting into.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to like how people perceive charity through the church, they have to realize that money is coming through donation. That means that somebody who was feeling the need to donate, because the churches usually have an amount of overhead they have to cover anyway, and they have some ministries that they're involved in. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up too. Like, one of the beautiful things about how Care Portal is structured, I guess we'll get into the weeds a little bit. There are different ways that people can engage with Care Portal. So if you're an individual in the community, you can enroll as an individual, and at your leisure, no matter where you're at any given time, you could go through your app and you can see in real time what needs are currently happening right in your community. And with the push of a button, you could either choose to get involved by donating financially, you could choose to get involved by donating an item, or you can simply pray for the family. We also have other options for what we call a community champion. And a champion could be a person that maybe they're a Christian person and they are the head of an organization, or maybe there's a Christian organization out there that has resources, but they just don't have the time to go and find where all those needs are. Well, now with this CareShare technology, they can see on their phone or on their computer what those needs are and where they're at. And they can choose to just say, you know what, I'll give $2,000 to that. I'll give that money to help, keep that family together. And so by that person, that champion donating from the community, now the church has the ability to step in as what we call a connecting church. And through Care Portal, they're given a sort of like a debit card. And that card gives them electronic access to, so there's the card there. When they have this option called commit and claim, when they step in and commit and claim that request as a church, those funds that were donated by the community get automatically downloaded to that card, and now that church member, that church team can go out on behalf of the family and purchase those items either with the family or for the family in order to deliver them. So now talking about resources, right? Now the resources are not limited to one building or one particular group or church. Now the resources are potentially as wide and as deep and as far as how many people want to lock arms through this technology.
Now, being that it is, helping the community, the underserved, grants. You guys are open to get grants. I mean, is that something that you guys are actively pursuing, or is it? Because let me just tell you, we've pursued grants, and there aren't very many for us. Out there for grants. You got to fall into a certain kind of perspective, you might say. You know what I mean? And a media-driven ministry there's not too many grants for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we fundraise in all the different ways. We're a 501c3. So we get grants. We actually just got a grant specifically for beds, and it's a 6-month grant, and we've been putting together these events where we just gather a bunch of different people, 20 people, 30 people, and with the grant money we purchase a giant stack of mattresses. And so there's pictures of us just standing next to like all these mattresses, and we just have all the requests and everyone disperse into the community to hand out the beds. Grants, we do fundraisers, all the different things to fundraise for it. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what would you say is the biggest need? Volunteers, donations, church involvement? What's obviously you got a lot of people who need help. That's probably not,
Good point.
Yeah, the cool thing about Fresno is, at least the feeling I get, is that Fresno is very open to working with the church. And so foster care agencies have signed up, schools have signed up, nonprofits have signed up. And they're essentially saying, like, we trust the church to help us with our children and families. And so we haven't had too much difficulty getting people to post a request. And so I would say the biggest need right now is for caring church members to be the hands and feet. You don't always have to have the money, you don't always have to have the item, because we got the card and we got other ways we can get the item. But be the hands and feet, deliver the item to the family, make the connection. And we encourage every church to, see if the family needs prayer. Like, have a conversation with them, see how they're doing. Ask if you can follow up. Can we follow up with you? Can we invite you into our community? And so I would say that's the biggest need right now, is more people to get out and meet the families. Yeah.
I agree.
So where would somebody who's watching right now be able to find the portal?
So you can find us, you can go onto our website, careportal.org, and if you click sign up, you can either sign yourself up or you can sign your organization or church up, and then our team will be in contact with you. And that's kind of it, as simple as that.
Yeah. So I guess our roles too, I'm the regional manager for our area, so I would do a lot more of the engagement with maybe a business or some agency that would like to post requests, or an agency that would like to help fill requests. So I would take responsibility to connect with them. I would reach out to you, and then we would set up a time for training. So it could be in person, hands-on, we can full-on demo, this is how you use it. Or, if we needed to, we can do that through Zoom. We're pretty flexible in that way, but there's a lot of opportunity here. I don't know if we mentioned how we're really only about 8, going on 9 months old here in this area, but we really have started developing a very healthy network, or balance, if you will, between churches who are actively engaged and agencies that are actively engaged. And our pursuit is to provide more than enough care for every child here in our area. And I really believe that with the amount of people that we have and the hearts that they have to serve, and now if we just eliminated those barriers and we joined forces to serve these most vulnerable children, I don't really think that anybody, argues that need and that desire to want to participate in that. But now I think a lot of people just didn't know where or how to get involved. So this is an opportunity, like I said, through technology, where you don't necessarily have to go very far, and you can see it right in front of you through your device, and then we can help you get connected with those areas. And Eric is doing a good job too about gathering community with events and things that we have to kind of help people stay engaged and understand how we can use their help, which is really neat.
Yeah.
And one thing too we're learning is this is really revealing the need to people, because there's thousands of people who want to help. They go to church, they want to follow Jesus, they want to get involved, and there's thousands of people who need help. But not everyone knows that, there's a family with 8 kids who are all sleeping on a beanbag. There's a kid who has aged out of foster care and he's going to college, but he doesn't have a way to get to college or to his job. There's a mom who's going to have a baby in 2 weeks, but she doesn't have a crib or diapers. And so it's really revealing the need to the community and just giving them the opportunity to be challenged by that and then come through and help.
Yeah. So. Sadly, in this community, like every other, there's a lot of people who don't want to know. That's I mean, they just don't, because, I mean, obviously, if you make somebody aware of a problem, then it bothers them and haunts them.
Yeah.
And, and it kind of, then they have to, intentionally refuse. If they're oblivious, they can just ignore it and not bother their world. So obviously that means get the word out. Make sure. Right. let's tell everybody, so there's no excuse on that. So anything else you want to make sure we hit a point on here?
I would just say, if anybody is interested and just really looking to get involved and engaged in the community, I really believe that this is one of the things that God really does ask of us, or I should say command of us, to take care of the orphans. And in that sense, I mean,
that's taking care of the orphans. That's just part of it. But yeah,
right.
I mean, we're supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, when we get to heaven, you know what I mean? Jesus is going to say.
That's right.
Well, when I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was in prison, did you visit me?
Yes.
When I was hungry, did you feed me?
Yeah.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah. So we may come to different places on how we live that out in the life that God has given us. But one thing's for certain is our response should never be do nothing, right? And so we feel privileged also to take on this role, because we're also kind of having to be good stewards of the calling that God has for our life. And so when we're communicating about that, there's really nothing to sell, right? It's more of an invitation to welcome people in to help join us in caring for the least of these. So I would just invite everybody that wants to get involved, get in touch with us. Yeah, we'd love to have your help.
And I personally believe that real growth only happens when we get in the game. And so I'm just encouraging everyone to allow yourselves to be challenged by this, to be challenged by the needs, to really go to God and pray, God, do you want me to help with this? Do you not want me to help with this? How do you want me to help with this? Be challenged by that, because once we get in, once we're helping and serving and meeting families, then that's where I believe real growth and discipleship happens.
All right. So careportal.org.
Yes.
Right?
Careportal.org.
Careportal.org. I'm sure you all know how to spell that. So yeah, I'm not giving you any excuses. Sorry. Let's hope that the Holy Spirit touches some hearts.
Amen.
And especially those who have some deep wallets. So
there's room for everybody at this table for sure.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, thanks for coming and sharing, guys.
Yeah,
we have a saying which Joe's familiar with, and that is, you are rad for Christ. You're definitely fired up for Jesus, and we love to see that here. God bless you guys.
God bless. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so glad that you joined us for another episode of Radical Christianity. It means so much to us that you've taken the time to sit and watch. We had some really great guests today, and I think a lot of important things were discussed, and I hope that you got something out of it. And, if you did, we'd love to hear about it, but I really kind of want to focus in on that person right now who's feeling the tug of Jesus, right? Their heart is they're feeling it. They're not exactly sure, why when these things are making them feel a certain way. They don't, you know what I mean? There's so many ways to describe God reaching out to you, but it's kind of like you feel it. You know it's happening, right? And I want to encourage you to take that step. If you're afraid, there's really no reason to be afraid. I've never known anybody to regret a decision to have a relationship with Jesus. It says in Romans 10:9 that if you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. Now, what does that mean? That means you can literally just say, Jesus, I'm in. And you're there. You're saved, right? You can just talk to him and reach out and say, God, I am sick of doing things my way. I want to do them your way. Will you take me up, hold me in tight, turn me into the person that you've designed me to be? Whatever, just speak from the heart. Talk to Jesus and just tell him that you want him to come into your life and help you become the great, amazing, wonderful, caring, loving person that he has always intended you to be. And if you did that during the show, that'd be so awesome if you could tell us about it. You just go to our website, radforchrist.com. That's RAD, 4Christ.com. We have a form on there called Got Saved. If you fill that form out and send it to us, then I can actually send you a Bible and a little gift to show you that we are excited that you had joined the family of God. We also have a prayer request form and ask a question form. So if you have a question about the show, about the Bible, about our guests, about our crew, about me, about your mouth homework, whatever, we would love to be able to try and help you answer that question. Also, if you have a prayer request, something that you need prayer for, we would really love the opportunity to pray for you on that. So if you could just let us know, we will engage our Creator on your behalf. And, I don't know if he'll care that we're praying versus you're praying or next person praying, but it doesn't hurt to have more people praying for the things that you need. So let us know, all right? Because you see, we are here to serve. And this is the most important part of all, and that's Jesus Christ loves you. So do I. Thank you for watching Radical Christianity. We will see you next week.
And I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even if nobody else believes. I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.